Hello, Scripps employees. As part of Workforce Development Month, we are bringing you a three-part series on the Scripps employee career search experience. Today is part two of three, and today's webinar is about setting you up for success when looking for your next role within Scripps. I have my partner here, Amy from Modern Hire, and she is going to be helping me provide some best practices and tips when using our interviewing technology that we use here at Scripps as part of our interview process. Hi, Amy.
Hi, Sam. It's great to be here, and thanks for having me. As Sam said, I'm Amy Cantrell, and I'm the Client Success Manager at Modern Hire. Modern Hire is a all-in-one hiring platform that Scripps Health utilizes to conduct on-demand and live interviews.
Great. So thanks for being with us here today, Amy, and we'll dive right in. As we know, these last few months, the world has changed around us, and so has the interview process. With people not being able to gather and to keep people safe, Scripps has adopted virtual interviewing almost instantly back in March. We changed all of our workflows to a virtual experience. So, Amy, because you have so many clients across the nation, would like to hear from you a little bit more about what's going on in the industry and how have other big companies adapted to today's climate.
Yeah, definitely. With the pandemic, we've seen a massive shift, not only with our existing clients, but basically within the entire global recruitment process at large. Modern Hire has over 100 clients who are in the Fortune 500, and those are across many different industries, such as financial, retail, service, and of course, healthcare. And we've really seen an impact across all the industries in their recruiting process, regardless of what industry you're in. So our clients who were conducting in-person interviews were able to really pivot to the live video interviews, much like Scripps did, to continue hiring. And we noticed in the first 2 weeks of March, we conducted 2,500 more live video interviews than our previous highest volume month ever. So we really felt the impact of the pandemic pretty immediately.
Wow, yeah, and it was great that we were able to partner with Modern Hire and have a technology on hand to really pivot and still be able to provide patient caregivers for our organization to make sure that we're giving excellent patient care. So it's been a great partnership.
Great.
So today we're going to dive into kind of what we use, how we use the interview technology here at Scripps. And I have Amy again to kind of give us a little bit more background on what some tips and best practices on what you can expect and how you can set up your interview, no matter what kind of interview it is, and how to be successful. So here at Scripps, once you first apply to a position, you may receive a couple different options of interviews. If you receive an on-demand interview, or you would be able to schedule a phone call or a live voice interview with a recruiter as the first step, depending on the type of position you're applying to. So we'll start in talking about the on-demand interview. Amy, can you help us explain what is an on-demand interview?
Sure. An on-demand interview is a set of pre-recorded questions that candidates are invited to complete on their own time and pace. Candidates can record their answers at their convenience. They can stop the process, come back in and pick it back up. And then they can submit their recorded answers to be reviewed by a talent advisor or a hiring manager.
Great. And what would some tips or best practices would you give our employees in completing an on-demand interview?
Yeah, as with any interview, remember to dress professionally, avoid distractions, and definitely be yourself. When you're recording an on-demand interview, we recommend also checking for ample room lighting, making sure it's behind you, setting your camera so it displays your head and shoulders, you're not too close or too far away, and testing your microphone for the appropriate volume levels so you can make sure that your recording is being heard and is coming through clear. The great thing is candidates are able to play back responses and re-record if necessary. So we really want people to feel comfortable and that they're set up for success. And finally, take advantage of the camera and really let your personality shine through.
Absolutely. I know as a recruiter and a lot of our hiring leaders, they love seeing the on-demand videos because it really brings your resume and application to life to see who you are. And just a reminder that once you get the invite to complete an on-demand interview, we ask that you complete that within the first 72 hours of receiving the invite. And then, as I had mentioned, the second option would be scheduling directly with our recruiter or hiring leader. And that would be considered a live voice or a phone interview. And Amy, do you have any best practices for maybe doing a phone interview or a
Yeah,
live
I
phone?
sure. Yeah, I
Yeah, go
sure
ahead.
do. Yeah, it's really a good idea to find a quiet place without any background noise so you can really focus on the live phone interview and the questions that are being asked. If you're using a mobile device, make sure your headphones or speakers are working prior to the call. Make sure there's ample battery power so you can get through the entire live voice phone call. And we always recommend to speak a little slower and enunciate so your answers are heard clearly. We've all had, cell phone conversations where it's hard to hear. So just always remember to take that in consideration when you get on that interview.
Great tips. And what's great about the live voice interviews is that it actually provides you in your confirmation a number to dial into, like a conference line. So a lot of some misconceptions is many employees think that the recruiter is going to be calling them directly, but in that invite confirmation, it will give you the information to call into the conference line. All right. And so, our third type of virtual interview that we have through our recruitment process, and we've really enjoyed doing this because we can't physically meet with each other or have people come on site for on site interviews, is the virtual interview. Typically, this you'll be able to get an invite and you'll schedule directly on the hiring leader's calendar to do that live video. So, Amy, what are some tips for the live interview and on the interview experience that employees should be aware of? And what's the best devices they should be using?
Yeah, definitely. So we recommend that you treat the live video interview like a traditional in-person interview. Prepare the same way you would and be prepared to put your best foot forward. We recommend also joining the interview about 10 minutes early. The link is live, so you can go in and test your audio and video setup prior to the interview starting so you can feel set and ready to go when the interview starts. If you're able to be hands-free, like via headset or earbuds or anything like that, that kind of tends to lead to a more natural conversations. You can use your hands and be more of yourself. And also, we always say, don't forget to enjoy the process and have fun with it. As far as devices and browsers, you can connect to the live video interview with a laptop, tablet, or mobile device. Laptops are probably the easiest device to use during the live video interview since it allows you to move more and you don't have to hold anything. So that is the one that we recommend. And the preferred browsers are Firefox and Chrome for the best experience when doing a live virtual interview on Modern Hire.
Great. That's really helpful. Those are just, if you can just take a few moments, get everything set up, make sure you're working it, probably take the stress level down of actually being once the interview starts. So great
E-
tips.
Exactly.
All right. So thanks, Amy, for kind of reviewing the different types of interviewing that we have in our process here at Scripps. Just wanted to review and do a recap of some of the pointers that Amy graciously pointed out. And this can go for any type of interview, whether it's a phone call, on demand, or a virtual live interview with a hiring leader. I heard Amy say, log in and call in early just for a tech check. Make sure that all of the equipment's working. The great thing about Modern Hire is that if something isn't going right, you have 24/7, 365 access to support. So call the number. They will walk you through and do a tech check with you to make sure that everything is working appropriately and you're ready to go to have a flawless interview. Um, and then be your authentic self. It's important that not only are hiring leaders looking for the right fit for the role, but it's important for you as an employee to enjoy the work that you do every day. So really coming and bringing your authentic self will help see if you're a great fit for that position. And then when your hiring leader or recruiter is um, asking you questions, a lot of times it's always important to reflect on your past experience and give examples of how you demonstrated that behavior. As we know, past behaviors and reactions and how we handle situations is a great predictor of how you will do and perform in the future. So, anytime you can provide an example and an outcome of what that situation was, it really strengthens your answers for that hiring leader. And then always come prepared with questions. Changing the jobs is a big decision, and so making sure that you have questions prepared for the hiring leader to make sure that you're making the right decision in career move at the time. So that is all that we had on our agenda today. So I thank you and thank you, Amy, for joining us on our series. And your tips were great and really helpful. So thank you for joining us. And if you haven't seen part 1 of our series, look out on the Scripps Connect, and then tune in for part 3, which is real questions from employees and job seekers and we answer some frequently asked questions and do a little bit of a mythbuster session on the recruitment process. So tune in for part 3 and catch up on part 1 if you missed it. And thank you for your time today.
Thanks, Sam.